I buy something candy for you. Try some.
going to that event. That's a really good mechanism that I like.
Hey guys, welcome to the stream. It's Lucia. I'm a Twitch ambassador and I just hit 10,000 subscribers on Twitch. A lot of people tune in to see the emotes being used. Yay! I didn't have anyone to do my emotes and then I found Jinko.
Sometimes finding the perfect job can be difficult. As a designer, I'm always trying to up-level my work, and this was a great opportunity to do that.
I'm so lucky that Jinko and I connected because I really don't think I would have this type of success without him. Great moments are the work of many.
And you're gonna be able to quit that job soon. I bet you this time next year you're gonna be like, wow, girls on the Blur Girl Live, she talked about this.
Please tell me if we do.
We're gonna manifest that.
We are.
No, actually,
we are.
there is one thing that you did say. It actually took tangential to that question. You were in this talk where you were very sick, but we couldn't tell. You were actually speaking to people about in business about how they can help from the inside. So there are. Talk to me a little bit about that. How we can talk about it all day long, and we can make black boxes in our Instagram all day long. But until we actually have people behind the scenes, yes, I said it. Yeah. Until we have people behind the scenes that are black women or women of color, or no, I'll be specific, black women who understand this space. Changes aren't going to be made. Now, I don't know of any, but I feel like you do.
In terms of black women in the space, or
in high-level positions like that of brands that might be able to work with us or work with you.
Yeah, I mean there are. I can't read them off the top of my head right now. Riot ones always come to my mind. There are black women in advertising. There are very few black women in advertising, but there are some that are in those kind of levels. I think it's difficult. I think this is me speaking from my professional background now. I think when it comes to attacking issues like diversity, inclusion, it has to be not just resting on the shoulders of the chief diversity officer. It has to be a company-wide initiative from the ground up. There has to be processes worked into everyone's role to account for diversity, inclusion, and equity. And sometimes companies want to cut out the last two and just do the first one. And that's a difficult one. And then when I was doing that talk, which was at EGX that you're referring to, which I've given to talks to other places as well, there are a couple of things that I say to them to do is to just, if you can't find someone who is in a business, find a consultant and pay them for their time. You know, what we offer, again, I say, is cultural capital. We are not offering something that is something they already know. They don't have the cultural capital to then generate the funds what they need, that they will need from the game that they're trying to tell by relating to the audience. They don't have that. They don't know how to talk to black people. They don't know how to represent black people well. They make mistakes. We've seen it multiple times in representations of characters and the voice actors of characters and in how they market characters and what powers characters have. And then in who sits on these panels when they're talking about diversity, having a panel about 2-3 white men talking about diversity. Like, these things that you can't speak on, you need to hire consultants. You need to step back and rescind that privilege that you have. If you don't have a black woman, you don't have black people in your company, you need to start hiring them first of all, and you need to start fostering inclusive environments for them to
Yeah, people are good, nice persons. Personals. People are good, nice personals. Persons.
I bet it's just my boyfriend asked this question. Have you played Control? He loves this game. And is that on like the docket? Are you planning on playing that one? Look,
Yes.
I come in the room and I'm trying to figure out why he's playing this game as this white woman running around throwing furniture.
With
And he's
powers,
like, you don't understand.
I I need to play it. I haven't played it yet. It's on the list. I get less and less time to actually game, which is kind of sad. But it's on the list. I'm definitely gonna play it. But I feel like Ghost of Tsushima.
Just ignore the T. Yeah.
Tsushima. No, I can usually say it right. I just got tongue-tied. Ghost of Tsushima is my one that I need to play first. Like that is the next game. Once I finish the games on my list, trying to be more completionist than I have been. In the park because I waste money like that.
What advice? Oh, this one I can relate to. What advice would you give to a black girl gamer who's new to the gaming and tech scene? I didn't ask this, but whoever did, thank you, because there's neophytes out here. Like, so you know that I know some things, but I can't sit there and like.
I don't think you feel pressured to. I don't feel like.
There's always this question.
Do you play?
There's always this question. I always think of people say, "Are you a gamer?" And I'm like, "Well, no. I mean, that's esports, right?" That's actually what I thought for a long time. But the concept of casual gaming and watching enough casual gamers has made me feel more comfortable with saying, "Yes, I'm a gamer."
You are timeout.
In private.
46 more seconds.
Which is fine. I always the term gamer has been so tied to one cliched stereotype of white men, because it is a stereotype of white men, that has never existed, to be honest, on a mass scale. Gamers have always been very diverse from the ground up, and I think calling yourself a gamer offers diversity in background, ethnicity, and nationality, but also in a capability level, whether you're a hardcore gamer, an esports professional, or a casual gamer, or someone who just plays mobile games, and mobile games are even now streamable on Stadia and stuff like that. So I think gamer is a very loose term. It's just like, do you play games for fun? Or work? And then if someone says yes, then there you go. If you want to specialize and say then, no, I'm an esports player, or I am a hardcore gamer, that makes more, gives you more detail. But I don't think you have to feel pressured to put yourself in any particular box if you call yourself a gamer.
Also, just like comics and things like that, there are other roles and jobs inside the gaming community, because I haven't read every comic book on the planet. I read a lot of comics. I watch a lot of stuff. So I can speak to things if I'm asked to speak on them, if I'm hired to host something. And there are also hosts of gaming competitions, and even gaming has become so mainstream now that there's a lot of shows here on Twitch. There's even stuff that's slipping into other platforms where people sit up and talk about the games that dropped this week, and they might not be hardcore gamers either. I am finding that as well. So there's even other jobs within the gaming community. What's another question that somebody has here?
Go ahead. I would say find your tribe. If you have to join a community, you might find your tribe of people who like playing games, same game that you can, and that will help you establish yourself more in the gaming scene if you're new to the game.
But how do you find that tribe? Is that on like Twitter, or do you have to like find a Discord of people that are playing that game?
You can find it on Twitch and interact and support people's streams. You can find it on Twitter. You can find it in other communities. There's people in BGG who have been like, I found my best gaming friends through BGG, and therefore I'm a tribe. So it can be done in different ways. I think just the same way I did it, found people that I got along with, which is actually really random, finding that I found my friends first in gaming and like how aligned we were. But that's what happened, and that's how I started BGG. So I just feel like finding your tribe is the first step to feel more established and have conversations with them to get more intel and more knowledge.
Another question: what kind of stories do you want to see in games? Are there stories from the perspective of Black women that you would like to see told? I'll tell you right now, I would like them to not just be DLCs. I would like them to be the original game.
That's a good one. I think you've been talking about Dishonored. But yeah, for me, I think I would like to see a plethora of different narratives. Black women, I want a Black woman franchise, and I mean, when I say Black women, obviously we had Remember Me and stuff, but when I say Black women in this context, I mean an unambiguous Black woman racially. So a black woman who is dark skinned.
What is your option
And
of the
represents
games?
her culture in 100% authenticity. I would love to see. I have game ideas in my head that I would love to just
What
kind of copyright
is
and pitch to
your
businesses
objects?
about different gaming experiences. I would love to see Afrofuturism games, RPGs, which is along the thread of in which I have ideas. 100%, that would be
What's your
in my alley. I would
what
buy
is
that
your
game. If it was like
object
set like
goal?
Ghost of Tsushima, I would be sold. You would never see me play another game, most probably. That would be rinsing that.
Oh my god! Can you imagine a game like that where it's sort of like it's one, not necessarily tribe, but one civilization, and
What
not really
is your
trying to conquer
object
another, and it's
goal
based on
thing?
history, and you have to go through different parts of, and the
Don't
map
give
is
me ideas.
correct.
Don't give me
What
ideas.
is your
Please.
object of
Keep that to yourself and pitch that.
Okay,
That's nothing
okay, I'll fix it.
Don't put that out. If you can edit
It's so
that
funny.
out.
What
I
is
just
your
always tell
object
people that
of games?
I tell people that all the time, and it's so funny. I wasn't even thinking about it, but yes.
Don't put that out there. You know there's people already watching. But yeah, no, 100%. And even different types of games, you know, different puzzle games, strategy games, games like Abzu. You know, set like maybe Journey's a good representation of that. You know, Journey was set in a different setting. Beautiful. Like so, there's so much opportunity. And I don't even say like just for playing just for black women. Like I want that. Don't get me wrong. But I loved Mirror's Edge. Like seeing an Asian female protagonist was so inspiring to me. Remember Me was so inspiring to me. The new game Raji that we will be having a giveaway soon for, but it's so inspiring for me because that's an Asian female character developed by an Asian team. You know, particular in specificity in Indian woman. You know, and that's great. Like I love those stories where it takes you to different worlds. I would love to see more about that in different cultural context. I don't want to see no medieval crap anymore, to be honest. And I love a medieval game. Like, I love a dragon. I love a witch. I love a fairy. But I'm tired. You know? We don't need to all be talking about King Arthur all the time. And my lord. Like, get rid of that. Let's focus on something else.
Or put us in the future. It's very weird when you see medieval stuff like that. We're not in the past, and then you go to the future, and we're not in the future either. So, you know, or only if you build your own character are you in the future. Mm-hmm. Although I did see the last version of Mass Effect was hilarious. I saw so many people creating their own characters, and there were several stock characters that were, even though I know a lot of people did not like that version. There were a lot of people that made their own stock characters. Their own characters, and there were stock characters of color, a lot of them. Mm-hmm. But I will basically, you know, I'll play any game that Keith David's voice has anything to do with. Somebody else has a question here. How do you hone into building a brand? Like, where do you pull from? That's something I'm struggling with. Okay, I think you came late because we talked a lot about this in the beginning. Boy, is there in terms of building, because we're onto gaming, you can mention culture if you want, but the concept of building a brand, where did you start with Black Girl Gamers?
I started with what I needed and wanted to see. That was the first thing. And then I started with, the next thing was to make, I'm sure you guys have probably seen, our little characters. For, like, we have a PS4 character, a PC character, and to be honest, we don't use them as much today, but I still bought them, they're copyrighted. So, I and those, in that, I wanted to see the different representations of gamer girl that weren't represented. So I wanted to have a curvier, a bigger, plus-size gamer. I wanted to have a gamer with locks. I wanted to have a gamer who had an afro. I wanted to have a gamer that has bunches, like, well, one of them, the PS4 is based off of me. He based that one off of me, the artist, Chris Brunson. And then, I just wanted to see different representations of black women. Some were dark, some were light. And that was the main thing for me. Sorry, my light's falling. I always try and, 2 seconds. I always try and look at things where that representation is missing. That's how I hone in what I want to do for the brand. And then I think of colours. So for instance, a lot of techie stuff that is feminine or female or stuff is very purple, as we can see with the Blurred Girl Live. Purple is a very regal, very confident color, and so purple is also one of our brand colors as well, for BGG. And I always kind of instill some purple because it is very unapologetic color. It is what it is, whereas blue can be perceived as different things. Excuse me. So I think, and one thing that I think when building a brand is that you are allowed to be fluid. You are allowed to rebrand if you want to. Like, you don't have to stick with what you started off originally. And I think that's something that I'm doing now. Like, I'm working with a company to try and see, a different branding for BDG for the next part of the stage of the journey. And that's one thing, is like, I'm not there yet. This is a journey. All I've done is learn things along the way, and I'm imparting that knowledge that I've learned now. I'm not an expert. I'm just on a journey of building something that seems to work. It could be gone tomorrow, and I could be talking trash. This is just me testing this knowledge out.
And honestly, even though you think like, I'm just still figuring this out, I say this all the time. As long as you're in the room with at least one other person who doesn't know as much as you can teach. And you've been such an amazing teacher. I mean, I've even taken this past 2 hours. The chat has been like, oh my God, this is a class. This is amazing. So this has really, really, really been, I think, helpful for me. I am going to, I have people yelling at me about anime. Okay. I've got to ask this before I go, because I do this usually every episode. So, are you watching any anime? Or have you been recently? And it doesn't have to be brand new. I mean, any anime at all.
I started watching Monster, but I kind of fell off. Like I said, I'm watching the K-drama Empress Kai right now.
Yep.
And so I'm not watching any anime at the moment. I also started watching God of High School, but I can't stand animes that don't develop the character in the first 2 episodes. Like, if you've got powers, just because you've got powers, I'm just turned off.
It kind of starts in the middle. That one starts in the middle. I think you should watch Demon Slayer. I think you like Demon Slayer.
That's what I was about to say. The last one that I watched that I really enjoyed was Demon Slayer.
Yay! Okay, we have a Demon Slayer fan. Cool. I need that second season to come. I think you also meant like Blood Blockade Battlefront. I'll give you that one, and it's a lot of fun. And if you're busy and you only have time to like watch 1 episode or 2 episodes, like there's an arc, but then there's also individual episodes that are just fun, and it's only 2 seasons, so it's not like a commitment like Naruto or something.
Another one that I watched twice, Promised Neverland. I love that.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I love that.
Okay.
So good.
Well, that
and she's like, that was trash. I didn't like it.
I didn't. No. I'm not gonna say that. That one took me a minute to get into, but it was really funny. I'm not thinking like too many powers, but there were absolutely powers.
No, yeah.
And so, but you like. The funny thing is, I'm gonna look some up, but there's some animes out there that are a lot like the drama that you're watching, and I think you'd like those. That way you don't have to worry about like, tell me the powers. You could just like get into the little narrative story, and they're like kind of like josei manga. There's a few anime out there that are like sort of like young adult relationship kind of things that are really, really beautiful. Wait, are people making suggestions here? Carolyn Tuesday. Okay.
I love that. That was lovely. But I didn't like the song. I like Carolyn. This song got on my nerves.
I like Carolyn Tuesday season 1 better than season 2. I don't think they represented the LGBTQ characters properly in the second season.
Agreed.
And I thought that it's one of those things where I'm not queer, but I was saying to like a friend, like, this don't feel right.
Yeah,
they were like, yeah, this is wrong.
Tropey. It's tropey. Very tropey.
Yes, and it was like they tried, but there was nobody queer in the room to like direct them, maybe.
Very much so.
But I loved how it was animated. Your Lie in April, yes, Donnie, who just said Your Lie in April, The Secret Piano. You would probably like those. Parasite is scary for people who don't know horror anime. I don't know if Jayanne wants to play that. I mean, watch.